But here's an item near and dear to your heart, Sheila. You posted a written piece, I think, 2 days ago on this. Man charged with murder. Oh, my goodness. Was this somebody wearing trouble on his shirt? Was this a drug deal gone bad? No, he was the victim of a home invasion in which he and his mother were being threatened by multiple thugs. What else are you supposed to do? You defend yourself, I should think. Sheila, this is appalling. I want you to tell the viewers, so much for castle domain laws, because as far as I'm concerned, when you get to your home, the race is over. This is the finish line. This is your final sanctuary. If they bust down the door, you have no. I know in my home, I would grab anything at my disposal: a baseball bat, a knife. I don't have guns, and I would defend my family with lethal force. I applaud this man for sending this thug to the great hereafter. Why is it the Crown thinks he's public enemy number one with a murder charge?
Well, that's interesting. So let's go back a little. So Ali Mian, and he immediately lawyered up, wise guy. 22 years old. He's charged with murder after defending himself in what is very clearly a home invasion. Now, the reasons the people were there invading his home, those are a bit more gray, but I don't really actually think they matter. So he's charged with second-degree murder. His lawyer is the only guy speaking to media. He told reporters that his client's innocent. Naturally, it was a home invasion, intruders in his house. They were armed, dangerous, and he protected himself and his mother. Now, the guy was dead on the scene when the cops showed up. The man is a registered firearms owner, and his gun was legally obtained. That's an important point here. And he, according to his lawyer, used his gun legally against an armed intruder. His intention, however, was not to kill the intruder, or at least according to his lawyer, and he only shot at him once. He's just a really good shot. So good for him. There's a second man there, by the way, so it was a team of 2 invaders. The second guy got the message that the first guy didn't. And he was arrested at the scene and charged with break and enter and unauthorized possession of a firearm. So the bad guys had the legal gun and not I don't know if he's a good guy, but he's a good guy in this instance. Now, I've heard rumors that this is gang related. I don't know if that's true or not. And as I said earlier, I don't think that matters, because if you break into somebody's house with intent to kill them, they have a right to defend their life with lethal force. And if you break into my house, that's the promise I'm making to you. Because I'm not going to assume the benevolence of a home invader. I'm not going to assume that when they break into my house with myself and my daughters at home, because my son, who's a grown man, has moved out, my husband works away. I'm not going to assume that they're just here for my camera, my computer equipment, maybe my TV. I'm not going to assume that. I'm going to assume that they're here for nefarious reasons. I'm not going to assume the benevolence of the person who's here on my property illegally. And in the country, Canada is bad. Alberta remains one of the better places for you to shoot a bad guy inside of your house. It wasn't always that way, but things are changing rapidly here.
That's right. And, Sheila, here's my question I would say to the Crown. Is that what was I supposed to do? They have broken into my house. It reminds me of that great scene in Aliens, that fantastic James Cameron 1986 film, Sheila, where the colonial Marines go into the alien hive on that distant planet for a so-called bug hunt. And it's noted that there's a nuclear reactor nearby, and one of the wayward shells might cause a catastrophe. So the sergeant orders the Marines to holster their weapons, and one of the Marines says back to the sergeant, "What are we supposed to use? Harsh language?" I mean, really, that's the same thing here. I don't know how old his mother is, but if your answer is, well, and I once had this said on a Sun News show, Sheila, by Marianne Mead Ward, who has gone on to become the mayor of Burlington. There was a home invasion story, and lethal force or semi-lethal force was used. And I said, what were they supposed to do? And she said, well, you and the kids, you run out the back door, you hop the fence. What? No, like I said earlier, once you are in your home, a man's home is his castle. That's it. There's no more running to do. And so I have no sympathy whatsoever that this thug is now deceased because of his actions. Even if this guy, even if the gunman has a allegedly sordid past, doesn't matter.
I don't even know if that's true. It doesn't matter. You still have, we're not having gangsters carry out extrajudicial killings on each other. That's not how society works. And if you are excusing or advocating for this guy to be charged because of something he may or may not have done, and again, this is just rumors, in the rest of his life, then why do we even have a court system? We'll just let the gangsters kill each other and they'll do street justice. If that's what we're for, careful what you wish for. Now, let's go to Justin Trudeau and then I'll talk about...
before we do, Sheila, if you might indulge me for this, because just to show you how insane our castle domain laws are here.
Yeah, let's finish up on Ontario first before I tell you how good it is in Alberta. So
100%.
Yes.
A decade ago, when I was gainfully employed at the Sun News Network, my first video, I think it might have been my best video. I guess I peaked too early, but it was about...
We all did.
It was about the saga of a restaurateur who got the nickname the Spice Man. If you can imagine, folks, he is being, his restaurant's being broken into, his vehicle is being broken into, over and over and over again. He is consistently victimized. And one time he caught the thug red-handed, and he didn't use a gun, he didn't use a knife, he didn't use a baseball bat, he threw spice at him. Guess who got charged by the Toronto Police Service? Yes, the Spice Man. Let's roll that video. And some spices, he confronted the thief and called the police. But get a load of this. Police officers here at 14 Division, not only did they let the thief go, they charged Mr. Polapati with assault and using a nauseous substance. Mr. Polapati, you see, has been nicknamed the Spice Man because it was his use of spice that thwarted the bandit in the first place. So, as a primer, let's just see how effective spice deterrence is. What I suggest first is to, fend off the thief with something light, like garlic, There. Now, see, just do a little like that, sort of in the mouth area. Rosemary's a fantastic spice.
I have a holster.
Oh, Bob's your uncle. And see, there you go. This is mustard seed. This is where the mustard you get at the ballpark comes from. And there you go. Look at that. Fantastic. Oh, pepper. See, you put a little pepper on. There you go. We got to go to the nuke. We got to go to the cayenne pepper, brother. So, thief, get away from me. Stop victimizing me. The police aren't on their way because they don't believe in upholding the law against honest citizens. Ha! 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 We're teaching citizens how to defend themselves with spice because Mr. Polapati was, I think, charged for defending his property. So we thought we'd, do a little demonstration. What do you think about that?
What I think right now, gentlemen, is that this is not appropriate.
Why is that?
Look at it. It's not appropriate. And you need to not bring that so close to my face.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you very much.
So why is it not appropriate?
Because first, it's obstructing the sidewalk. All right?
Oh, really?
So I'm going to ask you to move that, please, from the sidewalk. And
well, what about parsley? Is parsley appropriate for a thief?
I'm not going to get into this with you. I'm not going to do that.
How about mustard?
I'm not going to get into that with you.
Okay.
You know what? That's why we have the court.
What about garlic? Is garlic?
We have the court system, and let's let the charges play out in the court and see what the court system has to say. What I am asking you to do now,
rosemary. What about rosemary,
you, sir? Is to take.
I got some other ones. Hold on a second.
You know what?
You're not
even trying to.
What about
Perry.
You're not even listening. You're not even listening. No, sir, you're not. You're not listening.
No, but you never
And
mentioned
you're
Perry
not-
Perry.
I can relate to her.
I
Is
told
Perry
you
Perry
I
appropriate?
told you I wasn't going to discuss that. I was very clear on that.
Well,
I
okay.
said
What
that
about
I would let that would go through the court
what about
systems
cinnamon?
as it should probably go. And you're having a hard time understanding me, sir.
Okay.
Is this
Bacon
yours?
bits.
Is this yours?
It's actually not mine, but I
Very
borrowed
good.
it.
Thank you very much.
Oh, okay.
All right, sir. I'm going to take that as abandoned property.
Oh,
Oops,
my.
that's too bad.
Oh,
All right, can you please keep that? Thank you very much, sir.
Okay. Is she under arrest or? What about cayenne pepper, officer? Would red pepper be appropriate?
Oh my.
Oh, what's your buttocks? Well, here I am picking up the pieces. Too bad she left so quickly, because I'd like to give her the finger.
That's good.
So, Sheila, that'll never get old.
No.
But, the point is, this was some person, a restaurateur, a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen, defending himself with the most benign substance imaginable, some spice, and he got charged. I can't even remember. I think the charges were eventually dropped. But that just shows you how it's like reward the takers, penalize the makers. That seems to be the theme right now, even when it comes to a life and death situation in one's own house. Unbelievable. And by the way, I want to give you a little shout out. I heard you on the Richard Serrett show on the electric radio, 960 AM. And Richard's, anyone in the GTA,
Yes.
The radio universe is a wasteland. As I've often said, with the hosts that are on terrestrial radio right now, if they don't get off the air soon, I'm going to stop breathing it. But I'll tell you, Richard Serrett from 4 to 6, Monday to Friday, and Mark Petroni from 1 to 3, you will hear radio that you will not hear anywhere else. It's like the golden days of talk radio before everything became politically correct and woke and pro Justin Trudeau. So please, 960 AM, give it a listen. It is, and if you're out of the GTA, you can stream it through your computer. Yep. Petroni and Serrett are doing amazing work.
Yeah, really. I just keep going on Richard's show to talk about conservative things as an audition, so that one day maybe he'll have me on his Strange Planet show where he is the Canadian Art Bell, and I just want to go on there and talk about cryptids. But I don't know.
You want to
if he
talk
knows
about
that
what?
About me? Cryptids, Bigfoot, Frogman, the Wendigo, those sorts of things.
I have a lot of love in my heart for the Wendigo. In any event, you wanted to move on to more Trudeau nonsense, I believe.
No. Let's talk about how different it is in Alberta if you shoot a dirtbag in your house. So we got to dial back the clock a little. I think it's 2017, 2018-ish. Eddie Maurice, he's on his property outside of Calgary. I think he's home alone with his toddler daughter.
By the way, not the Eddie Murray.
Eddie Maurice. Maurice.
I misheard, sorry.
Yes. So I think he's from Okotoks, so just south of Calgary.
Okay.
And a burglar comes on his property. Now, Eddie's at home with his little daughter. He's not going to presume the benevolence of this guy. So he grabs his gun and wings the guy in the arm. Doesn't kill him, doesn't anything, just puts him in a sling for a little bit, blows apart his elbow. Good. But as it turns out, guess who gets charged with unlawful use, dangerous discharge, aggravated assault? It's Eddie Maurice. The guy who's on his property gets the lesser charges of mischief and breach of conditions. You see, this guy was already out on bail for other things when he was on Eddie Maurice's property to do absolutely no good. And as you know, in Canada, so often the process is the punishment. And so Eddie gets dragged through the court system almost up until trial, and then charges are dropped because there was no likelihood of conviction. Of course not. He fired a warning shot. He could have hit that guy at center mass. He didn't. But then the guy who he shot
oh boy,
sues him in court because he was injured on Eddie's property. Now, to Jason Kenney's credit, he did two things here. He pitched into Eddie Maurice's legal fund. I think he gave him $100 or $500 as just a private citizen to a private citizen. And that was before he was premier. And then when he was premier, he changed the law so that if you are injured in the commission of a crime, you can sue the property owner for your injuries. So that got changed. Now, fast forward to 2021, Red Deer, early morning hours. Guy breaks into a guy's house. Guy runs, gets his firearm because can't store them near the bed. So he runs, gets his firearm, and I think it was fired one shot, killed the guy instantly. Didn't even get charged.
Beautiful.
In Alberta. So that's how quickly things can change. The sentiment can change. And Alberta remains one of the freer, more sane places in this country when it comes to dealing with citizens and their right to defend their own property and themselves. But Ontario, you're just awful.
And Sheila, you said something really important. I just want to take a bit of a deeper dive into it. Eddie Maurice, with that incident, you called the process being the penalty. And by that, I assume you mean the amount of time that was robbed from him going through this criminal trial process and the amount of money in legal fees, maybe six figures. I don't know. Maybe you know more about the case, but certainly tens and tens of thousands of dollars. And he's an innocent man. He was defending himself. I'm assuming that's what you mean by the process is the penalty.
That's exactly it. So months and months and months, I think it was up to a year, that he was sort of dragged through the process, crushing financially, the stress that it caused on his family, dealing with this, court dates in and out of court. And all he was doing was trying to protect his home and his baby daughter.
That's a clip from something we call Rebel News Daily. It's our daily live stream hosted by my friend David Menzies, but the show also includes a rotating cast of hosts and special guests, including me. It's a great way for us to talk about the news of the day as the news is happening in an unscripted fashion, and it's an awesome way for you to interact with us as well. We stream every weekday, 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain, wherever you find Rebel News. See you there.